Welcome back. Today is another mobility day and we're going to be focusing all on the hips because who doesn't need a good, I once had a client refer to the hip and pelvic bowl area as the junk drawer. And who doesn't need a good junk drawer cleaning out? Because this is where we kind of get stuck and tend to control and hold on. And in these few moves, you'll notice that your hips relax a lot and are a lot more open for you. Maybe pain is reduced. I'd love to hear your experience after you try. So first we'll start on our backs and enter into something that's gonna feel a little out of control, a little crazy. And for some of you, even a little frustrating. It might bring up anger. A lot of emotions might come to the surface, and just try to be with them. Don't try to move beyond them, past them, or just neutralize them. Go into them and allow them to be. That's truly where our freedom is when we stop running from everything that we have tucked away in our dark corners. Bound angle. Soles of the feet together, knees fall wide and apart. Lots of length starting to happen through the interior of the thigh, and glutes should be fairly soft here. Although just coming into it, you're gonna think you're soft, but you're not quite soft yet. So we'll see after the Psoas Shake how you feel. And we'll start the process of the Psoas Shake by first tiring the glutes. So you'll squeeze the glutes onto your bone structure. A full glute squeeze, both right and left. So feel right hug, feel left hug, and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Now lifting the hips, you'll press into the outside arches of your feet and lift the hips up, squeeze your glutes. You might bounce a little here, that's normal. You're definitely gonna get a little tired. Mind might wander. And I've actually heard that a few of you have been yelling at me. So you might even be yelling at me right now. Knees stay wide and apart. Hips are lifted up. Glutes are still squeezing. Feel your right glute squeeze. Feel your left glute squeeze. Feel both glutes squeeze together. 3, 2, and finally 1. Slow melt down. And now feel your glutes. Those are soft glutes. Those are tired glutes. Knees are going to remain wide, but lift up 1 to 2 inches and hold. There could be already, depends on your body and how much is stored inside the psoas, what's happening here. So you could already be shaking or experiencing fluctuations. And maybe you're like, what the heck's happening? What is this? I'm bored already. Stay with it. Knees come up about another inch and hold. And if you can see me, which I'd actually hope that you could close your eyes during this and really only see yourself. But if you want to see me, you'll see that my legs are already starting to flutter. And bringing the knees up again just an inch. This is pretty good adductor engagement. And your mind, because it is so conditioned to control, to love being controlled, your mind is going to seek for where you don't experience the fluttering. And just watch that kind of happen. And up another inch. And if you've reached the point where your knees are out of control, your legs are fluttering, and you have absolutely no control, stay with that for about 4 or 5 breaths and then relax back into bound angle. But I'm going to hold. I haven't reached that point yet, so I'm going to lift my knees up another inch. Woo, there it is. A lot of like earthquake shake happening. You want it to be quite dramatic. There's big holds, like King Kong hanging onto your lower body here.
And those of you who are experiencing nothing are going to bring your knees about 6 inches apart and just hold. And go to where your body has the least amount of control over. And relax. Fall back into bound angle. And now we'll go into counter twist or counter movement. Sorry, it is a twist, but a counter movement. We had a really big opening in our hips. We were open, and now we're going to close. Instead of an external rotation, we want to have an internal rotation. So the twisted roots falling. Lord help me. Twisted root is going to bring that internal hip rotation for us. The arms will come out to shoulder height. You want a little bit more of a shoulder stretch, take them into cactus arms. That's a lot for me. So I will just have just a slight bend in my elbows instead of that full 90-degree. Left foot is down on your mat and right calf is hugging to the outside of left calf. And I probably could have just said right leg over top of left thigh. Now draw your hips out to the right slightly and drop your shape to the left. You can look over your right shoulder and you might have just heard my back pop. Obviously had some kind of blocked energy there too. And I teach Reiki as well. And I just had a student today ask me, is every physical symptom, ailment, disease, injury, diagnosis a result of emotions? And can't prove this, but a resounding yes. Yes, yes, yes. Everything that is happening in our physical is our body trying to release, let go of something that we are refusing to look at, something that we are hanging on to. Lots of us have identities around these parts of ourselves. And we'll come back through center. Soften both feet down into your mat and take bound angle just for 2 or 3 breaths. And then both feet firmly on the ground, left thigh over right quad. Hug the ankle, your left ankle to the outside of right calf. Shift your hips to the left and then drop your shape to the right. And shoulders should be rooted, whatever really feels good for you. The shoulder's very unstable, not a lot of bone structure to support it. So we want to be offering it the most support that we can, but sometimes it is really nice and feels good for a short time to let it hang in space. So many rules. And this part of the practice, yoga, is why a lot of people say, oh, I don't like yoga or yoga's not for me, is that when you are forced to be with your body, with your breath, sometimes your mind kicks up and it takes you into those places where you're denying yourself from going or running away from or so fearful. Like, do you know how many times a day I have a thought or a memory of something that I've done or said and I just literally like make a barf face or cringe and it's just like, oh my God. But in that same instant, I remind myself I'm human and I let it go. Like, while it's still there, but it's just like, yeah, I see you. Would I do it differently today? Heck yeah. But that happened and I did or said or have had done all the things. And by denying it doesn't make it untrue. It just makes it harder for us to attract what we really want because our whole body's magnifying that experience, that thing we're running away from in. anytime we say we don't want, that's a much bigger charge than I do want. I don't is like saying, heck yeah, give it all to me, to the universe, because don't is such a powerful, like we really work hard for what we don't want. And we very rarely work hard for what we do want. Come back through the center. Knees will hug in this time to center and feet go wide and apart. So both hips are, both sides of your legs are internally rotated at the same time. And then you all hug your knees over top of your heart and you can rock from side to side. If you want to take a happy baby, that probably feels like a nice ending to this as well if you don't feel complete. But this is where I'm going to close off today. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.